Greetings, all you brickheads and citizens of Westeros. This is the vger Network, and we are that which seeks the Creator. I'm going to try a little magic trick today. Hopefully you guys aren't familiar with Johnny Carson or the Great Kreskin, but I have a question inside this envelope, and I'm going to attempt to find out the answer using just the powers of my mind. The answer is leveticus. Leveticus. Alright, here, we'll get a laugh track in here as well. Alright, Leveticus, and the question is, what do Game of Thrones, Legos, and washing your hands have in common? And the answer is Leveticus. Where to begin? Let's start with Legos. Have you ever tried to put a Legos model together, but without the instructions? It's probably like a really super crazy hard feat. And we're actually going to find out how hard that's going to be. I got a really awesome brickhead buddy of mine named Jason who has volunteered to attempt to put something together without the instructions. We'll see how long it takes him. That's coming up on another episode. But for today, just imagine what that would be like. I'm not even talking about the Millennium Falcon or the Death Star or something massive, but just something on a small scale. Do you have kids or nephews or anyone who loves Legos and you hand them the box and they rip it open, the pieces go everywhere, the instructions go scattering across the table, and there they are, just trying to build something from the picture on the box, and your OCD is going nuts thinking if they would just pick up the instructions and follow it, it'd be so much easier, right? Well, that leads us to washing our hands. Believe it or not, it does. So the life expectancy of the average human person was around 30 to 47 years old. If you made it that far, you were considered an old man, an old maid. Nowadays, of course, people live to their late 80s, late 90s, sometimes over into the 100 and teens, correct? Well, that all comes about because of, let's say these 5 people: Louis Pasteur, Robert Koch, Joseph Lester, Ignaz Semmelweis, and Florence Nightingale. All, between the years of 1847 and 1876, had a hand in instituting washing the hands. It was a practice that was not happening in early times and before that time as far as hospital policy goes. In fact, there were many cases where the doctors would move from an autopsy to delivering a baby. Of course, infections spread rapidly and the mothers would oftentimes die within the next couple of days of giving birth. But these people came up with, hey, what if we wash our hands, we keep our hands clean? And of course, that prompted all of the different hygiene protocols that we have now in our hospitals and doctors' offices and food service industries. The longevity that we have now is actually attributed to the rise of hygiene awareness, sanitation resolutions, and better washable clothing. That's where we got to. That brings us to Game of Thrones. R.R. Martin created a massive world. I mean, he had literally every little piece written out, it seems like. If you've read the books, you know all about those little worlds. If you saw the television series, you know all about the worlds there. One in particular was the group of maesters. Now, these were essentially the monks of Westeros and who were charged with keeping record of everything that happened in history. They were the historians. In one particular episode, late in the series, we found one of the characters, Sir Jorah Mormont, has been infected with a disease that literally turns the skin to stone and eventually will drive the victim to insanity. He finds himself locked away, waiting for the insanity to take a hold of him in the Maester, High Command, let's say. It's basically their citadel of knowledge. And another character we find happens to be there as well, Samwell Tarly, who is a Maester in training, let's say. Well, he goes into the Forbidden Book area and he finds a cure for this disease, and he goes on to cure Sir Jorah Mormont. When he's questioned about what he's done, his simple answer is, I read the book I followed the instructions. Seems pretty simple, doesn't it? Legos, reading the book, follow the instructions. Healing someone, if you have the knowledge, you read the book and follow the instructions. Even washing our hands, if you read the book, the instructions are there. A lot of times we kind of forget that the Bible can be an instruction book for us. Leveticus, Deuteronomy, and Numbers, in graphic detail sometimes, outlines the way that we should live our lives and how to live our lives a healthy and prosperous way. All the rules and things that were laid out for the Jewish people still apply today, one of which was washing of the hands. How much different would our world be even now if that simple practice of reading the book, follow the instructions, was taken in its literal form prior to, well, Sir Louis Pasteur or Florence Nightingale? It'd be a lot different, wouldn't it? Think about that. Maybe think about picking that book up and reading the instructions. Our lives would be a lot easier if we could just kind of figure out that we should do that, right? Thanks for tuning in. If you liked us, please share. Please like it. Push that little button down there. Push the like button. And I mean, come on. If you're going to share a picture of Cameron Diaz yelling at a cat at a dinner table, you can share this, right? Alright guys, take care. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. JLY.